Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Once again, it's your boy Tommy Knowles along with
Carlos the Taylor
and Devon Armstrong.
Coming to you live with another episode of Good Medicine. We are in our production meeting, like I like to refer to, if you want to loosely call it that. We talk about some of the issues that we've had with parenting, particularly as fathers, potty training children. And so, just out of curiosity, Devon, you probably won't be able to chime in on this one because you haven't had any children yet, any offspring. And I know a lot of these stories will have you to heavily consider whether or not.
Definitely something to consider.
Yeah. Whether or not you want to jump into fatherhood and how soon that's going to be. But just, Carlos, and I know I'm probably like stepping on a landmine by asking this question, but what are one of the funniest moments, not horrific in the moment and then turned out to be funny later, but one of the funniest moments you've ever experienced during fatherhood?
Okay, well, we talked about the fact that my oldest son was a streaker. Okay, so he was the one that you dress him, get ready to go to daycare, he'd break out of his clothes like it was jail or something. You break out and start running like it's fun. So in one of his breakout moments, I can hear the sounds of it. So I walk out of the room and do something. I can hear him taking clothes off. So then he runs in the room where I am, naked, runs back out. So okay, I said, I gotta catch him. So I come in, I say, I call his name, and he says, Dad, I drop it. I said, Dad, I drop it. You drop it. What you drop? You try to drop the duty. And the duty he dropped was, it had the consistency of...
That's never a good description to leave with.
It had a consistency. Yes.
Anytime you talk about duty consistency, yes. It wasn't transient, was it?
No, it had a consistency. It looked like one of Bill Cosby's pudding pops.
Oh no, man!
That was slowly winning in his lifetime.
Oh no!
And I said, dude, this why? This why? Dude, people don't run around naked. I said, you might drop something. You drop something. I said, this is why. This same kid gave me projectile explosive poo on one instance. And when it happened, time froze like a scene from The Matrix.
You can see it coming.
Yeah, and I couldn't protect myself. So imagine
the worst feeling in the world.
Imagine a freeze frame, and dude is supposed to come at you, and it stops. You think to yourself, okay. First thought I thought is my mouth open. That's my first thought. Is my mouth open?
That's a good thought.
And then I thought, can I turn my head? Can I get there? And then I'm thinking, okay. Once I confirm those two things. Well, they say, let the chips fall where they may. Oh. The chips, they fell where they may. And I wanted to baptize my child over again. I wanted to christen him. Like, this is not a thing. This is not of Christ. This is not of Christ. Who put this in you?
Heathenism.
Yeah. It's not right. So, Devon, I will tell you. You have some explosive times.
Oh my gosh!
And there's time we haven't talked about on the podcast yet. Is the do hand, okay? Now, Tommy, okay,
that's a Taylorism, bro.
I'm not gonna do it right now. Okay,
you never talking about the do hand?
I never. We didn't talk about it on air.
You know about the do hand?
She does know. Okay, but we didn't talk about it on air. Should I do it? Should I do it? Should I do it?
It's in your hands.
Okay. Let's go. Okay. All right.
We got an impromptu Taylorism.
All right, here we go.
Right now.
Okay. All right. So this is my scenario. Listen to me now. I'm wise. Let me start by saying that. Okay. I'm wise.
Wisdom.
All right. I'm wise. Okay. So.
That's like telling people you the boss.
Okay.
If you tell somebody you the boss, then you not the boss.
Okay.
If you have to tell them. But go ahead, wise one.
All right. So you go to the bathroom and you make a deposit in the bank. Okay. So there's one hand you're gonna use to do that, right? Okay. So do that. Okay. I can help myself. Okay. All right. Okay. So this hand has now become the culprit of a crime that's about to happen. So after you use this hand for its utility, you have two hands now. You only have two hands. You have to use both hands to pull your pants back up and do. Okay, you got to dress yourself again. How do you do that without the culprit hand? The culprit hand is what I call the do hand. Okay?
You don't want to do with it.
You don't want to do with the do hand.
You don't want to do what you need to do after you've done what you need.
No, you don't. So what do you do? So I'm asking you, what do you do with the do hand? Do you risk the do transfer from your hands to your clothing? Do you play it off like it's nothing? What do you do with it? What do you do with the do hand? Yes, what do you do with the do hand?
I feel like it's all better technique.
What's the technique? Explain this technique to me.
You must make sure that there's proper barrier between the hand before it becomes
the do hand.
Okay.
The do in the hand. You have to make sure there's a proper amount of toilet paper between the do and the hand.
Okay.
And so if that means that you end up having to buy toilet paper more often than you would want, then that's a sacrifice that you have to make. It's an investment that you have to make.
So I do not subscribe to the crumple up and go.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's just asking for.
There is a particular fold method that you have to use.
Yes, there is.
Tell me about it.
Okay.
you have to fold it properly.
Okay, let me ask you this question then. In all your proper folding, in all of its glorious layers, do you still trust that hand before you go to wash it? Do you still trust that hand?
What do you mean trust?
Trust it. Will you take that hand you just layered and wipe your face?
Well, so
wipe your eye.
So if I'm in an environment with no air conditioning and I'm sweating, are you saying that? Are you asking me will I wipe my brow?
Yes.
Prior to washing my hands after I trust it if I had adequate enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Or more so, what I would do was use tissue to wipe my brow.
Okay.
Versus
the other
my
side.
bare hand.
because the do hand is suspect now, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's been in the space.
Yeah, it's been in the space.
I get what you're saying.
Okay,
right.
That's what I'm
saying.
saying.
But I feel like if you touch anything with either hand in the space, even before you do the do,
both hands
become suspect at that junction. And if you're in a public setting where you have to be clothed when you leave, what are you to do? Now, what you could do.
Well, you said do. It just keeps happening.
So my suggestion would be to wrap your hand when you pull your clothes up. Okay. Wrap your do hand. You need to wrap your do hand.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wrap your do hand.
So your do hand becomes don't. Right?
Don't do the hand.
Okay.
Don't do the hand.
But even still, because this is just like washing your hands and then grabbing the bathroom door.
Yeah.
On your way out.
Somebody used to make me do this, put my hand in my sweater and do a doorknob.
You just take a napkin, or you could take the napkin that you dried your hands with and grab the door. And then on the way out, you do your best Kobe impersonation.
Yeah, right.
And
I do a beeline straight to that soap and water.
Yeah.
as soon as I can.
Oh, so if you're at home, you don't even pull you just
Nope.
You just shuffle on over.
Yes.
You waddle. You pick
I mean,
waddle.
I mean, the first layer is up.
But you still, if you pull the first layer up, you might as well pull up the second one.
Bro, that's what it's for.
Okay.
That's all.
But
That can't be compromised.
It's in a constant state of compromise.
Yes. Yes.
Touche, young Padawan.
Yes.
Touche. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just been introduced, no pun intended, to the do hand.
Yes.
To this.
Let's get into some wacky news.
Okay.
How about that?
Even wackier than what we just did. Let's go.
All right. So it's been a long time since I've done wacky news. So for those of you who are not familiar with this segment, essentially what I do is I pull off some weird, sometimes funny news articles, current events off of the internet, and I read the title to them, and then they try to decipher, if it's not obvious, what the article is about, and then I will divulge what the article is about. So since we're talking about do's and don'ts, first article is New Orleans man accused of bomb threat insists he just had to poop really bad.
Wait a minute.
Okay. Wait a minute. Wait. Okay. Okay. So what did he? Oh, see, it's your fault. Let me say now. Let me say. Okay. What did he commit to in this case?
What was the action?
So yeah, like, did he say, "Hey, I gotta bomb me and leave"? And
so
was he
are
accused?
Are you familiar with the phrase "I'm about to blow this thing"?
okay, yes.
So police said the suspect told employees at Willie's Chicken Shack. So you already know.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes.
You already know what
Praise Jesus. Holy Jesus.
He said, "Y'all about to close right now because I'm going to get a bomb and blow this place up."
Oh.
Damn.
So this is what the article says. As jokes go, this one was really crappy. You might even say it bombed.
Oh.
Boo.
That's bad too. Hey,
A New Orleans man accused. It said threatening to blow up a local restaurant last Tuesday. Told police it's a big misunderstanding and he was referring to a bowel movement. According to an arrest warrant, 30-year-old Arthur Posey walked into Willie's Chicken Shack and asked an employee what time the restaurant closed. When the employee told Posey she didn't know, he allegedly replied, "Y'all about to close right now. Because I'm going to get a bomb and blow this place up."
Shut it down.
So restaurant employees told police that Posey was very angry during the discussion. He later told police he was referring to the restroom and wasn't making any real threats.
oh my gosh.
Have you ever used the term "I'm about to blow this place up"?
I just think that, like, but
Shut it down.
yeah, how do you take that though? Like, so I'm saying, like, he want to know what time y'all close. He need time to do that, right? He need time, right?
I think he was just trying to be funny.
Oh yeah.
He said, "What time y'all close?"
Yeah.
And then whatever her answer was going to be, he was going to be like, "Nah, y'all about to close right
Yeah,
now.
about to blow
I'm about to blow,
okay, yeah.
I'm about to blow this thing to smithereens."
You know what? I think we can agree on something. Dookie not funny. It's not a funny matter. It's not a funny matter. Oh! it's not a funny matter. I mean, every encounter you have with this stuff, it's bad. It's never good. So he should have known that.
It's never funny in the moment. Not for the person that's actually doing the
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
But there have been several funny situations in past tense
Involving
the number two.
Yeah.
All right, so next article. Police lock up angry raccoons drunk on crabapple hooch until they sober up.
Wait a minute.
Read it again. Police lock up angry raccoons drunk on crab apple hooch until they sober up.
How do you discover that raccoon is drunk?
They smelled it on their breath.
Yeah. Well, how do you find out a raccoon's drunk?
So
Probably found them in the hooch.
So this is what happened. Reports of rabid raccoons terrorizing a West Virginia neighborhood turned out to be exaggerated. The raccoons didn't have rabies. They simply found some fermented crab apples and apparently are rather surly drunks. We've had calls on suspected rabid raccoons twice over the last 2 days. Turns out they appear to be drunk on crab apples. And so the department actually released a mugshot of one of the mad suspects.
Oh my gosh.
Police recently hauled in 2 drunk raccoons, although catching them was a community effort. After the animals sobered up, the officers released them into the woods unharmed.
How? So what kind of behavior does a drunk raccoon exhibit? Like,
they were extremely angry and agitated. So they thought they were rabid.
Right.
Yeah,
but after they caught them and got them to the vet or whatever, they realized that they were just intoxicated.
Inebriated.
So, but like, I never encountered a raccoon that was not. I mean, if you encounter them, like if you in a face-off. Yeah.
But it sounded like they were, you said terrorizing?
Yeah.
So it's like they were out looking for trouble.
They were rabble rousing?
Like many drunks do.
Right. It made me think about the Tom and Jerry cat cartoon, man, when the cat's out there drinking.
Yeah.
How dry I am.
Yeah. But see,
They're probably singing.
look, it makes me think about too, like where I live, like there's a Crystals. Every other restaurant in their community, their raccoons don't go to the dumpster. The raccoons go to this one dumpster. It's at Crystals now. And they congregate with cats, so it's like a club. So it's like a club of cats and raccoons. And so we pull up on the curb to just see the fiasco. Man, they got everything but disco light up in there. You put the hats on them, and they'll look at you like you walked in the party like you said tripping. Like, who are you?
Right. Who invited you?
Yeah, but it's only at Christmas. That's why.
I would imagine that if it was a large number of them, then they're pretty confident that they can outnumber or outdo anybody that approaches that area. I would hate to be an employee of Crystals having to throw trash.
Oh, heck no. Look, I saw, an episode of, what's it called? The Turtle Man? It used to come on, the Turtle Man?
Turtle Man.
Turtle Man, like, him trying to get a raccoon out of, with the box, the concession box of a game of
a country crocodile.
Yeah.
Turtle Man.
Yeah, Turtle Man was deep, boy.
He catches pests.
Yeah, he catches pests. So he had to get this raccoon out of the place where the announcers announce at a game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he go inside there. This rabid raccoon.
Yep, that's him.
I said Turtle Man. Yeah.
Okay.
So he goes in there. And the raccoon's mad, like he walked in his room, So the raccoon starts hissing and pissing. You're like, okay. So that's why I was trying to figure out what kind of behavior does a raccoon that's drunk exhibit? Because I mean,
that's the behavior that they always.
Yeah, I'm saying. I mean, because dude, this raccoons use their pee as a defense mechanism.
Right.
Yeah, so this dude just climbed on walls, just pissing.
Maybe drunk raccoons don't pee.
Maybe
they actually people who hunt use raccoon
piss.
pee. Yeah, it's like to attract the deer. Like they're sprayed on their boots and stuff like that. So funny story, not quite funny. But I have a friend of mine who's an educator who works in a school district out in the county. Let's just call it the county school district. County school district. And so the kids in the county school district, these are the type of kids that have their hunting rifles in the bed of their truck when they drive to school. These kind of kids. Okay. Well, this one particular kid came to school. He actually brought a raccoon bladder. It still had pee in it. Like, so when they catch the raccoon, they harvest everything. if they get a raccoon bladder with pee in it, then they keep that because then they can squeeze the bladder and the pee comes out. They use that as like to disguise that smell, to cover up the smell when they're out hunting. So he had this one in the truck. Now, any teenage boy who brings a raccoon bladder to school, what do you do with it? The only thing that you can do
is spray people with it.
Mm-hmm. Not just people, but girls.
Of course.
Oh!
So he's chasing the girl around the school.
Oh my God, dude.
And so can you imagine as an administrator hearing, oh my God, Mr. So-and-so, Tommy's chasing me with a coon bladder. Okay. I have a confession.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Lead me to a confession.
Why do we get so alarmed when he say stuff like that?
Okay. So
because you know it's heinous.
Okay. When I was a small kid, I hated girls. So what I would do,
she was spraying with coon bladder.
No.
It's worse, I'm sure.
I was spraying with cool piss. Okay, I get my water gun.
Are you serious?
Yes. Yes, and my water gun, and I put water in pee,
Boy,
and milk, because I knew that milk when milk gets old, it stinks. I fill the water gun up with that, and I ride on my bike, spraying girls in their hair.
Hello.
Didn't I tell you?
Any one of those girls hear this podcast and they remember that you sprayed in their hair, they come to get you, bro. They you know I'm not even going. Next article. Next article.
I'm a bad man, okay?
Debauchery.
I was a bad child. I was a bad child.
Debauchery at its best.
I was a bad child.
That's pure debauchery. All right, next one. IBM's Watson wrote a Lexus commercial about a car that comes alive.
What do you mean, comes alive?
IBM's Watson.
The AI.
The AI.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a Lexus car commercial about a car that comes alive.
I think I saw that line.
Yeah, it's an actual live running commercial. Robots may not have gained sentience yet, but it looks as if they're thinking about it. Lexus released a 60-second commercial Monday that is being touted as the first written by artificial intelligence. It was scripted by IBM's famous Watson and Oscar-winning director Kevin McDonald. According to IBM, Watson took common characteristics of award-winning commercials from the last 15 years and was primed with data that showed when viewers most connected with an ad. It then formed a basic script and outline. Watson didn't turn in a fully formed script, of course. His human overlords took the AI system vision and created a commercial ready for human consumption.
Oh my gosh.
The fact that AI gave a fellow machine sentience, placed it in sort of a combat situation, and then had it escaping into the sunset was such an emotional response from what is essentially a digital platform. So I have a question for you, gentlemen.
Skynet.
Is this the start of Skynet? Is this the beginning of Skynet?
First they write commercials.
Right. IBM's Watson will be able to pinpoint that the creation of Watson was the beginning of Terminator.
And they time travel and
or worse, The Matrix.
Oh no.
My thing I'm thinking about is like, if your car is sentient, what kind of complaints does it have? You know, like if it's got, you know,
cheap gas got to be number one.
Yeah, it's always, but it always has gas. Always,
it's gassy.
Yeah, it's always gassy. Right? I mean, yeah.
I mean, what did Kit complain about?
So if it needs a oil change, is that likened to its monthly? I don't know. I'm just saying.
That's horrible.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Terrible. They do refer to cars as girls, though, like as a feminine.
Yeah, they do. That's why I said it. Yeah.
I don't want to go any further.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, it just got awkward. I'm sorry.
Next article. I got two more. All right. Florida man sentenced to 40 years for plotting to bomb Target stores to disrupt stock price.
It's always the Florida man. It did.
You're right. It's always Florida. It is. It's always Florida man.
What's going on in Florida?
Yeah.
All right. So this is the statement. He said, if someone has to die so that I can make some money, so be it.
Wait a minute.
Dang.
It's kind of dark.
It's kind of dark.
But you got to check his playing out.
It's like twisted assassination, and that's saying something.
So look, witnesses testified that he offered another person $10,000 to place bombs hidden in food packages in Target stores in Florida, Virginia, and New York.
What?
So instead, that person notified federal officials, and Barnett was arrested. Evidence at the trial showed that Barnett had bought bomb components and assembled at least 10 improvised explosive devices, which he concealed in packages for stuffing mix, breakfast bars, and pasta.
Dude.
Breakfast bars.
So just a quick summary. The idea is that he was going to blow up like all these different Target stores, and due to his assumption was that due to the bad publicity, that their stock would fall. So while their stock fell, he was going to buy up a lot of stock, and then when their stocks went back up because they're rebounding from the bad publicity, then he could sell the stocks, make a lot of money. So
wait a minute, you say he offered somebody $10,000?
Yeah, offered somebody $10,000.
Does he really need money?
I know, right?
Like, does he really have a problem with money?
Maybe that's all his money.
Well, maybe he just offered it to him like, after I make all this money, I give you $10,000. If you
maybe.
Who knows?
Twisted.
You're right. It's always a Florida man.
He was also a registered sex offender.
Okay, there you have it.
So
he's coming to peddle the files.
Right. So speaking of petting the files, Japanese groom spends $18,000 to get married to a hologram.
Good old Japan.
There's a whole video about this. I feel like we should post a link to this video on the website.
Please do.
All right. Till Tech Do Us Part. That's the name. A Japanese man had the wedding of his dreams to a woman who doesn't exist. Earlier this month, this dude is 35 years old, by the way. Ahiko Kondo got hitched to Hatsune Miku, a singing hologram that uses a voice synthesizer to perform in sold-out shows worldwide, according to Inside Edition. Despite her fame, Kondo's family didn't approve of her. For mother, it wasn't something to celebrate, Kondo told Japan Times. That one family member was among the 40 guests who attended the ceremony, which was estimated to cost $18,000. Of course, Miku, being a virtual creation, wasn't actually there either, except in the form of a stuffed toy. Kondo insists his love is as true blue as the color of Miku's fake hair. I never cheated on her. I've always been in love with Miku-san. He said, I've been thinking about her every day. Miku doesn't exactly live with Kondo either, except as a talking hologram floating in a $2,800 desktop device in his Tokyo home.
Nani?
Yeah. Okay, look. This will make the old people say, he need his whoop.
And need Jesus.
Yeah. He need his whooped. He need his whooped. Like, how do you... I can imagine becoming so lonely that I would want to be with something I can't even be with. Like, really?
I'm trying to figure out why 40 people showed up for the ceremony.
Yeah.
It had never been done. Probably just people who didn't even know.
They had to see it to believe it. They had to see it to believe it. Yeah.
So there's no way in the world.
Yeah.
I would have been caught dead in this shit because I wouldn't want anybody to assume that I was supporting this foolishness.
You know, I tell you what, if they were doing a wedding video, I'd be like this the whole time. The whole time.
All right, so check this out though. It should be noted that the marriage isn't legally binding in any aspect. Also, thegamer.com notes that Gatebox, the company that created Miku, is not expecting the virtual vixen to remain monogamous.
Oh wow!
It's not expected. She won't be faithful.
Right.
She's not programmed for that.
The company has already issued more than 3,700 marriage certificates to people who want to wed a hologram.
Wait a minute.
Oh, to see. Okay.
So there's at least 3,700 people out there who want to wed a hologram.
I know Jesus.
I'm sure that these holograms they want to marry though do not look like Miko. Okay.
I know Jesus coming back.
And so listen to how he justified it. He said 2-dimensional characters can't cheat, age, or die. He said, I'm not seeking these in real women. It's impossible.
I know a couple of things they can't do too.
Yeah, it's some important things they can't do.
Yes, right. Okay, I can't even consummate my marriage. Like really? Like I can't. Like what did it say? Like his first girlfriend was Fistina.
You can't leave me here. You can't leave me here with him by myself. You can't do it.
You need to call
You can't do it.
He'll be with you
I actually do have one more. I might as well throw it in there, given the tenor of this episode.
Carlos, I care about you, man.
Zoo offering visitors buckets of Detroit zoo poo.
Offering?
While they're on duty.
Zoo offering.
Oh.
All right. This is in Royal Oak, Michigan. Some visitors to the Detroit Zoo will soon be able to add animal droppings to their souvenir list.
Wait a minute.
Listen how much they're giving out, though. Free buckets of 5 pounds of animal manure dubbed Detroit Zoo Poo will be handed out on April 14th as part of the zoo's Green Fest celebration. The event precedes Earth Day and will showcase how the zoo recycles waste.
Okay, so it's fertilizer.
Right.
Okay.
But they call it Detroit Zoo Poo.
So does rhinoceros poo make my pants go faster?
I think the phrase rhinoceros poo. Out of all the animals that you could have named, you went straight for the rhinoceros.
Yes,
Rhinoceros poo.
I imagine they produce
how they make my garden grow.
Look, elephant poo must really do some stuff.
Bruh.
I do some stuff, dude.
It does.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been wacky news. Oh, boy, my cheeks are hurting. I've been smiling.
The employee that has to sort through all that.
Yeah. What if you don't believe? I gotta deal with this.
Y'all know it's November.
Mm-hmm.
Every November we have, in some way, form, or fashion, elections. November is your voting month. Mm-hmm. And so if you have been paying attention to the news, especially down here where we are in Mississippi, there's just been a lot going on as it relates to the Senate races and just voting in different arenas in general. And actually, this question came to me as a result of a message that Pastor preached a couple of Sundays ago, basically about making sure that you do your homework with candidates before you go and you vote, in the context of making sure that your faith, your beliefs are lining up with the person that you're casting your vote for, right? This is aside from utilizing your right to vote, because we do understand what sacrifices were made in order to give us the ability and the privilege to vote. But with that sacrifice comes a great responsibility, right? And so what it made me think of is that many times in our community, especially the black community, we tend to just be pro-Democrat.
Yeah.
You know, that most of the people, it's like something that happened, I'm not sure of all the history that goes along with it, but somewhere along the line, black people aligned themselves with the Democratic Party and was like, if you want the black vote, majority of the black vote anyway, you have to run on the Democratic ticket. That's how you get it, you know? And so, but even if I'm going to be honest with you, even up until recently, I have not really considered my faith and what I believe, the principles that I live by or try to live by, using those as a measuring stick, so to speak, when it comes to the candidate that I'm endorsing with my vote, if that makes sense. Because while a lot of the candidates that I've supported in the past have done a lot of good for the country, so to speak, they've also had their hand in putting some things in place that are not necessarily or let me say it this way, they go against what the Bible teaches.
Right.
So I wanted to pose this question to you all. How do you balance your responsibility as Christians in the vote? Or how do you, let me flip that, how do you balance your responsibility to vote within your Christianity? I think that's a more fitting question.
I am a high skeptic. So I just feel like to be a politician is to be untrustworthy. I think it just comes with the name. And I think about the way politics came to be from Roman empires and such, and the things that they did to gain political power and such. I don't think much has changed. So it's like, I think, I've said it before, I feel like if you're black, you got one stripe against you politically. Other stripe is if you're Christian. It's like, dang, what do I do? So it's like, I end up voting for what I feel like the lesser of two evils are. And that's kind of where I go, because I really don't feel like, I feel like to go into politics, you have to sell a part of your soul to be in there and be in there for a long time. So because I feel that way, I don't really feel like any politician can really align themselves with my Christianity. So I stopped looking for that. More so, I started looking. It's like, and it's not even fair. It's like a double standard. Like I don't want to be judged myself, but I judge them, and so I'm going like, okay. So I'm counting sins. Who has the most sin? He has less sin. I'm going for him. It's whack. I don't think it's right, but it's what I do. That's what I do. It's my barometer for voting. But I feel a conviction to vote, even when I feel like I have no dog in the race. I do it because my grandfather used to travel and help blacks to vote when they're in their counties. So I feel like I'm obligated to do that because that's in my family history. But it's not a black thing for me. It's just a thing, But I just feel like I feel like it's my Christian responsibility to vote. I feel like it's a Christian responsibility. I feel like if we don't do that, I feel like the ills in society are on our shoulders when we don't. We buy that when we don't vote. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, I have about $5.
All right.
It is so many. I have so many thoughts about it, and I think every time I have participated in voting, I have just felt uneasy about it afterwards, as I'm sure many people have, when they're Christian at least, and black, because it's like, yeah. I definitely get what you're saying, like the lesser of two evils. But the thing about, for me, when I look at politics, definitely look at the whole power thing. Because it's like people will align themselves with a certain side because they want a good chance of winning. And that's like the only way people win typically is if they choose a side.
Yeah.
You know, because there's no hard pressed to find somebody who's middle of the road that will get the victory. Just because this country is just loaded with division, as this whole world is.
Yeah, right.
But it's like I definitely as a black man, I want to use my right to vote, because of what was done before me. But at the same time, as a Christian, it's like, and as somebody who's I'm trying to follow Christ, not necessarily Christianity, as it stands in our society.
It's important to be able to mark the difference between
Yeah. There can be somebody who just says that they're a Christian, but if you look at them, it's like, I don't know about that.
Right.
And, I definitely get the whole policy thing. It's like, some say base it on policies, but I'm kind of like, well, the person I think is important as well. So there's that divide that that struggle, I guess. So for me, I typically end up voting for somebody or trying to find somebody who's just, middle of the road, not bipartisan or whatever, who doesn't have something that's crazy going on in their policies or whatever.
Right.
Because so with me, I'm like, Jesus, when I look at Jesus, I think there are things he would like and dislike about both sides, both of the major sides. Because one hand you have a side that talks, or carries the values, the ideal, morals, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But on a practical level, it's, lacking in, I guess what you could say, compassion and grace. I look at it like truth and grace. One side is heavy on truth, one side is heavy on grace, if you want to look at it that way. And I look at Jesus as being full of both, like John describes him. Mm-hmm. That's the struggle.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I guess, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Because you have one that's almost legalistic, so to speak, because they're like you say, basing it off of what's written in a literal sense.
Right.
Whereas the other side is fully accepting, fully grace, we take it as it is. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah. That's been a focus of my studies of late. How can a person walk like Jesus did or be full of grace and truth? What does that look like? And what does a society based on that look like? Because it's the thing is, I feel like the main reason I vote is because I want to honor sacrifices made before me. But I feel like my impact on the community as a believer should be more heavily on how I live my life and what I do. Not necessarily looking for somebody to fix my problems, as it were. Yeah. Sure, they have responsibilities in those positions, and I'm not I don't want to dog anybody in those positions because it's a hard job to be in leadership roles.
Right.
I'm not trying to be in that in that role, but that's, I don't know, that's I don't have any real answers, but these are just my thoughts on it.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's, for me, that's what kind of brought me to this conviction, being made aware of the fact that I don't know as much about the candidates as I should. Right,
exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm gonna be real, is that I was one of the ones who was if you're a Democrat, then
that was enough.
Yeah, that was enough for me. You understand what I'm saying? Because I didn't want the other side to win for whatever reason. And so as I've gotten older and had these types of conversations with people, and especially now after hearing my pastor talk about it in church, not more so trying to sway me from one side or the other, but to understand that I'm gonna have to give an account for the way that I voted. Yeah. When I'm sitting down and I'm having my talk with Jesus. You understand what I'm saying? And so it made me realize that since I can remember up until now, I never really put that much effort into truly learning what the policies were, the values of these individuals, how they were living their lives and things like that. What did they support? What were their views on things that I feel like impacts me directly, like on finances, like on education. What are some of the issues that are important to me, like abortion, things of that nature.
Yeah.
How are these people truly voting on these issues? Because most of the people that's running for office, they've been in some sort of political position prior to, where they've had influence or impact on how things have been shaped up until now. And so they get you, or they reel you in based on the fact that they're running on the ticket of a party that you call yourself affiliated with.
Yeah.
But 2-3 years down the line, when they put these policies and stuff in place, they're not in your interest, and they're not in the interest of Christ either.
Yeah.
And now here you are saying, man, I put this person in place.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And they're doing everything they can. But then there's the other part where you have an individual, like you say, you have to separate the person from the policy. And so while they may support policies that I agree with, that person may not view me as a person.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? Or not think of me highly at all because of the color of my skin.
Yeah.
And I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
So why if I put you in office or help to put you in office, you may push the agendas that I feel like need to be pushed.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time personally just getting past the fact that you said these things about my people. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I think that there really is no definite answer of what we can really do at this juncture.
Yeah.
Except hopefully pray that there's a candidate that's going to come along that's going to genuinely be a good person, genuinely push issues that are good for the common man, but at the same time support issues that align with the teachings and principles of the Bible and of Christ.
Yeah.
You know, in grace and truth.
Right.
And so that person has not materialized it. And then the ones that we think that have, they always lose.
Exactly. Yeah. And nobody, they don't get anywhere near the
winning vote. You know what I'm saying?
I think so. It does make me think about the Hebrews and how many times they were overthrown. And every time they're overthrown, God was still their God, and God still pulled them through. So I feel like in this state that we're in, as blacks, as Christians, that if we have to line our faith up with God regardless, because like if God can make it so that the worst, most sinister person can get that position and God can still affect their heart. They're not invulnerable to who He is.
That's true. And
I think that the way we navigate in that voting plane is to pray for those leaders. We got to pray for them, and trust that our God's power is higher than the power that they've gained.
Right. Yeah. So this is my question. In the election, the candidate that you wanted to elect doesn't win in the first round, right? And this person was your candidate; they were perfect for you, but they don't make it to the runoff.
Right.
Do you go back and vote again? Because you exercised your right the first time around, but the person that you endorsed or that you wanted to take office is not there. Right. So now do you just, because of the opportunity or that was provided for you to do it, are you going to exercise just based off of that? Yeah. Or was the opportunity that was provided to us the opportunity to decide whether I'm going to vote for you or not? Like the actual choice that you have in your vote. Yeah. Like my vote has value. I'm only going to give it to you if I feel like you deserve it, instead of just going and giving it to somebody because somebody gave me the opportunity to do it. Yeah. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I think generally, I kind of putter out. Like, okay, if my guy didn't get up there, I really don't have a tradition of going to runoff voting. Just me. I just don't I've just lost momentum at that point. So it's like a lot of times I just throw in the towel. Like, okay, well, you know. Like I said before, I don't have a horse in this race, but then I feel convicted when I do that because I go, man, but it's still my responsibility to vote. And for all the reasons I said previously, I should go out there and vote, but it's been my pattern to go and do runoff. and I know it's wrong. So,
But
that's the thing.
But is it wrong?
If you voted.
Like, if you voted in the initial election, you voted for your candidate.
Yeah.
But he didn't make it, or she didn't make it to the runoff.
Yeah.
Is it really wrong if you say, well, the person that I endorsed didn't make it?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now it'll be one thing if the person that you endorsed turn around and then they endorse one of the other two.
Yeah.
And because they endorsed them or whatever, you go. But even then, still, you have to make the decision that, okay, this person endorsed so and so. Does that mean that I have to?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's what leads me to the other point I made about what do you do outside of voting? Like, if I really believe in this person who I voted for and they didn't make it, am I still supporting them?
Right.
Or am I just voting to vote?
Right. Exactly.
It's like, what is my purpose behind it? It's like, if I believe they're going to affect the change I believe needs to be had, am I going to continue to support them in that and do my part too, to enact that change? Because, when I think about it, I'm like, America and its state, like it's what it is. It's not it's not kingdom minded.
It's not.
In so many ways.
No, it's not.
But we live here.
Right, yep.
And
we have to function from a kingdom perspective
exactly
in a non-kingdom environment.
And so another issue I have is, the whole laws versus heart thing is like, where does the true change come from in changing laws of the land or seeking or trying to get the hearts of the people, hearts of the land to change?
Yeah.
And I see value in both, sure, but I guess I lean more toward the, I look at it like the Old versus New Testament.
Right.
One started off in laws. The kingdom of Israel was founded on laws. You should not do these things, all for good reasons, and all for a purpose, to glorify the Lord in the land among the nations. So when I think about now, though, I'm like, we are in a new covenant. In this covenant is the law of spirit and life. So I'm like, does my change come from the letter or from the spirit?
The spirit, right.
Oh, okay.
Right, yeah.
I don't know. And that's where I come from. That's where I think about it. I guess if y'all going to base it on biblical reasons,
right. And it's important to take the whole Bible.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you're looking at policies and you're looking at the reasons and things that you're doing things, you have to take it in its entirety.
Absolutely.
And make decisions based the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I wish this is just me talking now, that I have the Holy Spirit come and say, hey, I need you to vote for this person.
I know, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then it'll be like, hey, I'm going every time.
Right.
Oh, you need me?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Because then it's no longer me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's you through me telling me what to do.
Yeah.
But it's just not. It hadn't manifested in itself.
You just gotta do work sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at this juncture, man, the only thing that I've resigned to do is to read up for myself,
Mm-hmm. That's it.
regardless of what the party affiliation is.
Yeah.
But kind of go to see exactly what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what they're saying, what they're doing, and what they've done in the past. And then based off of those three tenets, make a decision whether or not is this somebody that I would like to be in a position to be making laws and policies that are going to affect not only me, but my children who are growing up after me. Yeah. And, it's important to me not only just to look at that, but look at how is this person living their life, what are some of the things that they're doing and saying personally. And do I want somebody out there that's thinking this way, living this way, representing my city, my county, my state, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
It's hard for us, I think, because our society is so easy button minded. Because it's like you just live your life and tend to your business, and
it's almost the safest way to. That is a survival mode.
It is
survival mode mentality.
It's not
like
about,
I'm gonna do me, you do you.
Right.
Go
if anybody should be involved in the community, though, it should be believers. You know, and I'm not saying it's like I do it. You know, I like all
but it's the conversation that we're having now is an eye-opening conversation.
Yeah.
And it should provide some level of conviction to people who are actually transitioning into the role of being responsible for the society that we live in.
Yeah.
There are things that we need to be more aware of and things that we got to put our money where our mouth is.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? Put foot to the ground and actually do some things to make the space around us better. Yeah. And if you get enough people operating with that mindset and doing it for the right reasons, then we should see some modicum of change somewhere in our communities and in society as a whole. And so when those type of things happen, and it might start off with a church, it might branch off into a neighborhood, which may branch off into a community, which then turns into a city. And then you have people in that area that are stepping into those leadership roles, into those political positions that then branch out and start affecting the state, which then has an impact on the country, which can then eventually have an impact on the world. Right. That's the way that we expect it to happen.
Yeah, right.
The thing is that we either need to find people that do that, or we need to become people that do that. So. And so I can only imagine, man, some of the struggles and stuff people fall into once they get in those positions because of the level of darkness and shady, underhanded, under the table acts that take place behind closed doors in the political arena that force people into these unsavory positions, man. That they end up selling their soul, like you say, in order to be able to stay in that position for a long time. And so then you get into this whole conversation about do the ends justify the means? Right. I got to sell a piece of my soul to make sure that my community is taken care of. Is that really worth it? You know, that type of deal. So.
To me, it goes back to something we talked about before, just, you know, the church in general, getting outside the cul-de-sac. You know, getting outside of, you know, just Sunday service and actually coming together for community purposes, you know, like, because it's more than just voting. I don't know, I keep saying that, but.
I think it would be naive of us to believe that the only change that will happen is going to come from seats of political power. That's not it at all.
Like, I can't hardly trust a politician as far as I can throw them, you know, especially in the way things are now.
Right now, we have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Bilal Kizilbash, who's going to talk to us about a initiative that he started pretty much all over the country called Are You Hungry? And so, Mr. Bilal, will you tell our listeners how you got into creating this initiative, how it got started, and just kind of take it away, brethren.
It started quite a few years ago. We're about to hit our 5th year anniversary this end of September. It was a bunch of grad students and I, and a couple other students from Tougaloo College, Jackson State University, and just good, well-meaning people. We saw that there were people eating out of the trash in Jackson. We're like, hold on. This is a first world country. What's going on here? I'll never forget it. We actually saw this person go up after this guy who was in downtown Jackson. He finished eating his sandwich. He threw it in the trash. This lady and man were waiting basically for him to finish. They went in the trash after and literally started eating the food right out of the garbage. So then we said, okay, we're going to go buy a bunch of Little Caesars pizzas and stuff like that. And we started running all over Jackson, basically trying to find the homeless to feed them. And basically after a certain period of time, we realized that it wasn't the most effective because it was just a ton of driving, and sometimes we wouldn't find any homeless. We didn't really know where they would hide and stuff like that. And eventually got to the point that we started talking to the homeless, and we said, come on, tell us what your pain points are, and that way I can hopefully address it. So they explained to us that a lot of nonprofits and different churches would feed through Monday through Friday, but for some reason on Fridays at 12 noon they would stop. So I investigated to make sure that what they're saying is actually true, and it turns out it was. So I gave the homeless my word. I said, every Friday at 6 p.m., rain or shine, snow, it doesn't matter what's happening, someone will be here to feed you. And we kept our word. And then we started basically showing up every Friday with some food. In the very beginning, I was cooking it myself. It was disgusting. And actually, I didn't know how bad it was, actually, because the homeless would never complain. They would go for 2, 3, sometimes even 4 plates. I mean, damn, I felt good. I was like, man, I must be good. And then one day I had extra, and then I tasted it. I said, what am I feeding these people? Anyway, yeah, because I was really going light on the salt. Because the other thing is I'm a scientist, and as a result of that, I was concerned some of them have high blood pressure. So I tried to go really light on the salt. I went too light. I mean, I'm talking about in a huge pot, I only put a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Anyway, yeah, did not do that right. Anyway, like I said, they never really complained because it shows you they were really hungry.
Yeah.
Anyway, once we got the money and we got into some donations to roll in, I was some doctors, myself and I, and we were all pitching in, and we were able to hire a professional chef, and we haven't looked back. Another thing we do is we deal with a lot of local Jackson businesses as much as possible. And basically, we negotiate their highest profit items, and we register them as a vendor, and we pay them weekly. Because you know what it is? When we're doing this week after week after week, because so many people tell us, oh, you're a nonprofit, you're doing a public good, you should just expect the food for free. I'm like, that's not fair. I said, the business owners got to eat. They got to, raise their families or whatever, have your bills to pay. So it's not fair to expect that much charity out of anyone. Right. So I said, we can work out a special negotiated rate, and that's what we did. And we play well with our vendors, and our vendors give us back more than we ever asked.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. So, what if somebody wanted to figure out or learn more about what you all do and how to get involved? How can they get in contact with you all?
They can email me at billy@drawsmile.org, BILLY@DRAWSMILE.org. And also they can go to our website, drawsmile.org, DRAWSMILE.org. I mean, we tried to make it as simple as possible, and also that's the reason why we named it Draw a Smile Foundation. So in the beginning, like I said, it was just a bunch of us students getting together and feeding people. We did that for a couple of years until we could figure out how to actually get our own nonprofit. And then when I finally figured out how to do it, we realized calling it Are You Hungry, Incorporated was kind of limiting. So we decided to call it the Draw a Smile Foundation, because that's the whole purpose of why we're doing what we're doing, is to make people happy, focus on humanity, and basically make things equitable.
Let me ask you a question, Bilal. I know in this whole activity, you've had many times where you've been really blessed. Can you give us a time to really bless your socks off in doing this?
Oh, man, I've been blessed so many times. I can't begin to tell you. One time I got extremely sick. So they know, the homeless know I'm usually on time, and I'm rarely late. And one day it was just like 6:15 came by, 6:20, 6:30, 6:40. They're like, where's Bilal? And I was fighting with the doctor in the emergency room. I was like, bro, you got to let me out. I got to go feed my brothers and sisters. And he's like, you are not well, and I refuse to let you go. So I begged one of my friends to come and basically take the food and drop it off to them. So he did at around 7. And then he told them, he said, hey, Bilal's in the hospital. That's why he's not here. But and then they asked him what hospital. He said UMMC. So he didn't think they were really paying attention. Next thing you know, an hour and a half later, all of them walked from Smith Park to the hospital, and they only allowed one person in. And they didn't even have money. They pitched their money together to buy me a Super Mario card because they know I love video games. And some of them can't even read or write, so they signed their name. And they brought that card to me in the emergency room. The physician, the doctors started crying. There were a couple people around me. They were shocked. And even our homeless brothers and sisters were crying because they said, Bilal, we wanted to come and show you that we don't take you for granted, and we want you to get better. And I said, man, shoot. So we're not even feeding the homeless. We formed the community. That's basically what it is.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
No, that is absolutely amazing, man. Cool. Just a testament to how the impact that people have, or that you can have as an individual and as a group, how it really touches and reaches people, and how we can be blessed because of that.
Oh, absolutely. There was another blessing, just my recent birthday. I mean, one of the guys, he saved up his money, and he bought me this awesome Avengers Infinity War statue set, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, bro, what? and he's like, yeah, I know you like Avengers, and you've been coming so many years. I just wanted to say thank you. I'm like, bro, no way. Mucho love there.
That's incredible, man.
So let me ask you this question, because there are a lot of people that's probably going to hear this or listening to this that have always wanted to do what you do. And so if you could kind of put on your mentor hat for a moment and just offer tips to those individuals of what they would need to do to get started and what kind of challenges they can expect to meet, what would be some tips that you would give to others wanting to start a nonprofit group like this to assist anybody, not just the homeless, but people in need just in general? What are some of the things that they might be able to do?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So, first and foremost, you don't really need anyone's permission to do good. That's one of the biggest things that I have to do, and especially when I do my leadership talks. It seems that everyone is looking for, hey, is it okay if I do? If you see someone hungry, you don't need to ask permission. Feed them. Feed them with the best you can. Do the best you can. That's the first and foremost thing. The second thing is just lead with your heart. Number 3 is basically work together, meaning that you don't want to do this alone, because sometimes you might put yourself in a precarious situation. You definitely don't want that, because you have to remember also some of these people are not all mentally there. So we always use the buddy system. You're never alone. Always also don't go down dark alleyways and try and say, oh, I'm trying to help the homeless. And next thing you know, you get into deep trouble. So, yeah, use some common sense in that respect. Don't deal with cash. Never deal with cash or any kind of money. So don't carry any cash on you when you're feeding the homeless as well. So basically try to remind them, because sometimes they'll come and ask you, like, hey, do you have some money? Can you buy me this? Can you buy me this medicine? Can you buy that? No. Stick to the purpose of why you're there. Mm-hmm. The purpose of why you're there is to feed, and then you'll be consistent with that feeding. Don't overburden yourself, because that's another thing with some volunteers in the beginning. They try to give them the moon and the stars, and the problem is those people burnt out. They burnt out within the first month. They couldn't keep it up. Wow. So slow, steady action and small, consistent actions lead to big results.
Awesome. Yeah, man. So we're going to go ahead and let you go, man. Just thank you for joining us today, man. We love you, man.
Yeah, and tell the people one more time how they can get in contact with you if they want to get involved.
Yeah.
Sure. It is BILLY, Billy, at DRAWSMILE.org, drawsmile.org. The other thing you could do is just show up any Friday. We do it every Friday, rain or shine. This past Friday, I got soaked, and I was walking around in wet clothing, and we fed our brothers and sisters. Yeah. And the other thing I was going to say, it's not just homeless. We also have quite a few mentally disabled people as well. So it's really beautiful. And you were asking some of the highlights is to see the smile on their faces, because they sit at home alone. No one really wants to talk to them. And I guess also the other thing I realized this past Friday, some people just don't have the patience to shut up and listen to them, because they just want to tell you about their day. Like one of the guys, he ate a little bit, then he's just standing on the side talking to me, telling me about the different types of salsa he's been eating, the different types of people he's been watching in the street. I mean, most people are like, this is not exciting at all, but it was exciting to him. Yeah. And all I do is listen to him, and that made his day.
Hey, keep doing what you're doing, man. It's righteousness in action. So.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Bilal Kizelbash. I think I'm enjoying saying your name, man. It's just it's awesome,
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
If you want to find out more about how to get involved with Are You Hungry, again, you can reach him at Billy at drawsmile.org.
Cool. Yeah.
All right. Appreciate your time, brother, man.
Thank you, guys. You guys are amazing.
Awesome.
All right, man.
Peace out, man.
Peace.
All right.
Peace.
Bye.
I think we've had our fill today, gentlemen.
Yeah.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, we just want to remind you to make sure you go out, check us out. Good Medicine on YouTube and on Facebook. Make sure you like, comment, follow, subscribe. Hit the little blue button, thumbs up.
Tell us what you like about it.
Tell us what you like, man. What you want to hear us talk about.
But that's it.
Feedback.
Right, feedback.
You know, it's awkward when we don't get feedback.
Yeah, don't be awkward.
You know.
Like we were earlier.
And make sure you protect your new hands.
Yes. Yes.
So, keep it a don't hand.
That's right.
All right. Signing off, it's your boy Tommy Noss.
Carlos the Taylor.
Isaiah the Illustrator.
This has been another episode of Good Medicine. Peace.